This is Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on.
March for Reno has been a good month. We're about 130% of normal for.
Yesterday's storm dropped nearly 7 inches of snow at the Reno-Tahoe International Airport. How all that moisture could affect the region is tonight's Channel 2 News big story at 5 o'clock. Good evening, I'm Landon Miller. Kristen Remington is off this week, and thank you for joining us tonight. Much of the snow we got yesterday is sticking around, but is that helping with our snowpack? We begin with team coverage. Paul Nelson is live at Rock Park with a look at how the inside slider affected the snow levels in the higher elevations. And Chief Meteorologist Mike Alger is in the Weather Center with a look at if more moisture is coming. But Paul, let's start with you.
Yeah, Lennon, they say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. And of course, we do have a few more days left to find out if that's true this year. But we have had some pretty big storms at the beginning and the tail end of this month. You can see what it's done for the river flows here. And that has some people wondering, is this a miracle March? Experts say, not really.
Overall, it was not a widely distributed storm, but very intense for our Reno area.
Yesterday's storm dropped plenty of snow in the Truckee Meadows, but it didn't drop much in the mountains. The system was very strong, but in a concentrated area.
You get in areas of very intense snowfall, but it's not the large areas that the typical storms coming over from the west will provide in the mountains.
Reno's received about 10 more inches of snow than a normal year. While the latest storm is good for local vegetation, lawns, and ponds, it doesn't do much for our water supply, since very little fell in the mountains. Still, the first half of the month boosted the snowpack. The Tahoe Basin is 6% above average.
It's been cool enough. We've held on to the snowpack. Our conditions in the mountains are near normal, which seems huge compared to the last 4 years of drought.
After a dry February, March was good for our water supply. Bardsley says it was a good month with above average precipitation, but it's far from a miracle March.
So we've seen some years where our snowpack has tripled or more in the month. We did not come anywhere near that.
Still, it appears that the heaviest snowmelt will be delayed until April, which is a good thing. Lake Tahoe is less than 2 inches below its natural rim, and Bardsley says it's expected to peak at about 1.5 feet above it. But there's still lots of lost water to make up for.
While it's great to have an average year, we would have loved to have had a really enormous year to remove some of that deficit we've had.
This is also the time of the year when the snowpack peaks, and luckily most of the areas in northern Nevada will finish either at or above average. It also means experts are a lot more optimistic than they were a month ago after we had that dry month of February. Covering the big story live, Paul Nelson, Channel 2 News.